Welcome to the Spiral of the Rose podcast with our friends Kelli and Bri.
Welcome back for another episode of the Spiral of the Rose podcast. I'm Brianna Hosack, and I have Kelli Femrite here with me today, my co-host, as well as Julie Romero. We are going to be talking today with Julie about distinguishing between spirit guides, angels, ancestors, and your higher self, knowing who you're communicating with when you are talking to your spirit guides. Now, I've known Julie for a couple of years online. My absolute favorite thing that she does is Dolphin Reiki, actually, which is just the coolest. And that is sort of how we crossed paths. But Julie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do so that everyone knows who you are?
Absolutely. And so first of all, Coach Bri and Kelli, thank you so much for allowing me to come and talk with you and your group and everybody who's listening. I'm super excited to be here. I absolutely love being with women and men and people who are on the spiritual journey and finding that connection with their spirit guides. So I'm just going to take a moment real quickly to introduce myself. I am a registered nurse, believe it or not. I am a registered nurse. I am a quantum health coach, and I am an intuitive channel, Dolphin Reiki master teacher. I came into this life with spiritual gifts and the ability to see, hear, feel, smell, taste, touch, all the clairs with my spirit guides. Like many people here have are empaths, are intuitive, have different abilities. And so the key is, for me at least, it's been, I have these abilities. How do I find the people, places, and things, the mentors, the connections to help me develop them? Right. And so most of the people who come to me, I am a professional coach. I am a national board certified coach. In the people that I work with, private clients, is always around spiritual coaching. And it's very much, how do I find my confidence? How do I find my power, my intuition? How do I develop my psychic and spiritual abilities? This is my gig. This is what I love to do. There's many ways to do this. And so I help people find their particular way to connect with their spirit guides, develop their psychic abilities so they can have, all of the magic and the mystery in their life and help others doing it.
Yes, I love that.
I love that. And I will just add that I have been with Julie in her different spirit guide journeys before. My favorite has been the end of the year one that you do. I always love that one. I was able to map out like all my goals for the next year last December. So if you're doing that one again, I'm definitely in on it again. I always reflect back on that, and that's always that's a fun one. So for people listening, definitely check that out.
Thank you. Yes, I will be doing that in December. And it's so funny because I'm going to do the Dolphin Reiki journey starting Monday. And so people who've been with me in Lionsgate, who've been with me in these other things, I've already has people asking, okay, December's coming. When are you going to do Journey to Your Future Self? That's what
we just
called.
expect it of you now. What are you going to do
when
you don't want to do it anymore?
Lionsgate for sure. Lionsgate without a doubt. Like I cannot miss a Lionsgate. Yeah. But Journey to Your Future Self, and that's where we take a journey and we move into a different timeline where we are meeting the version of us in the end of 2025. And we are communicating with that version of us. Well, no, it would be we're going to 2025. Okay. To get information back. So I do multi-dimensional travel, which might sound a little strange, but I'm knowing how to use different timelines to find different information. So yes, Kelli, thank you. I will be doing
very powerful.
I love that. Yeah.
And I love how you were even talking about how you help people to find their the different ways that they interact with spirit guides, finding their way, the one that resonates most for them. And that was one of the questions that I had for you today was like, can you expand on some of the different ways that people interact with spirit guides, because we all do interact differently. And some people are going to hear more, some people are going to see more, you know, all of that. So I think just for anyone listening who doesn't maybe know about all the different clair abilities and whatever, if you can talk to that a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a great place to start, because I get a lot of questions of like, I'm hearing something, but I have no idea who I'm talking to. Or am I talking to them? Or is this my mind? Am I making it up? Am I going crazy? No, you're not crazy. Yes, you're probably hearing somebody. And so there's a lot of different things that go into it. So if it's okay, let me just go ahead and start with just kind of an overall kind of outlook on the types of spirit guides, because there are different spirit guides and a lot of people have different names for spirit guides. Some people call like their ancestor spirit guides, their spirit guides, the angels are spirit guides. And sometimes it can just be like one name, but there is a distinction, and there is a distinction on how to work with a different energy, and these energies feel different. Once you become clear in your own feeling, your own intuition about what and who you're interacting with, then the distinguishing feelings of, am I engaging with an angel or am I engaging with my spirit guide? You can begin to feel the difference. Am I working with an ascended master or am I working with one of my dearly departed? They feel different. Now, all of these energies though are part of you though, right? Our higher self, our collective energy. So I work predominantly with spirit guides who have never been in a physical lifetime. They are all non-physical. Spirit guides, we all have a spirit team. When we hit this planet, you do have spirit guides. Every one of us have spirit guides, whether you know it or not. These spirit guides are personal to you. They have accepted the mission, if you want to call this, to travel with you in this lifetime. Some of them have been with you through many lifetimes, but you agreed and they agreed for you to have their guidance in this lifetime. This is like your core team. And there's not just one. You can have many spirit guides that help with different factions of your life, like, you know, looking for a job or finding a soulmate, or what is, you know, the best food for me. There's different factions, but this is your personal team. This is probably the easiest team for you to get in touch with because they are personal to you. They are you. They're around you all the time. Archangels, and I'm sure most of you have heard of Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, you know, these very common angels. They are the angelic realm. They are very powerful energies. They are not ours personally, though. They help the world, the collective. We have to ask them to help us. We have to invite them in and give them permission to work with us. Our spirit guide, our personal spirit team, you don't need to ask, you don't need to invite. They are yours. Angels, again, each have their different specialty, and you can choose. You can even just Google like archangels and see, okay, I'm having like a health challenge. Okay, I need Raphael. My animals are having some health challenges. My animals, I need some behavioral training, Archangel Ariel. You know, you can see which angel to call and you can call them in and work with them. There are guardian angels. The guardian angels are yours. The guardian angels work with you all the time. This angel you do not have to invite. This is part of your spirit team. They have a little bit different energy than your spirit guides. And I'm not sure exactly how to explain how they feel different. But so for me, when I'm interacting with my spirit guides, I get the feeling like they're all around me. They're on me. I feel it very much in my heart. I feel it in my ears when they're talking to me. It's just like me talking to me. When I'm in angelic energy, it feels like something is close to me, but it's not in or on me. Does that make sense? It's like I can feel the energy of something else.
Yeah, that makes sense. I experience it similarly.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I'll try to make these little distinctions. Everybody will, this is very subjective, right? Everybody will have their own way of feeling. But I can feel the different angels when they come in, and it doesn't feel like it's, I guess it doesn't feel like it's part of me, right? But it's definitely here for my good. Then one of my favorite is nature spirits and spirit animals. I love working in the animal kingdom. So as a Dolphin Reiki trilogy, a Dolphin Reiki master, I mean, I work with the spirit of dolphin, whale, golden dolphins, and then my life totems are tiger and dolphin. So when animal spirit guides come in, they are connecting us to nature, connecting us to the earth, to the elements, to the world, right? And you can have your pet, like your pets who come in are your little nature spirits, your little spirit guides. And then also you can ask, who is my animal spirit? And the first animal that pops into your mind, that's it. You know, is it this? Is it that? Like, I don't like this animal. I'll choose another one. Just trust your intuition that that is the animal for you. It doesn't mean that that animal is permanent and forever. Sometimes animals are transient. They come in to work with you on a few things and then they're gone. They have messages. So if you're like out walking the dog and all of a sudden, this happened to me yesterday, you see crows, and then I saw a whole flock of turkeys, and then there was this big raccoon, and then there was tons of butterflies. I'm like, I am in like, this is crazy. This is like animal kingdom out here. If there's an animal that you see that jumps out at you, Google it, like spiritual meaning of butterflies, so you can see what your messages are. There are ascended masters. I'm sure you guys have heard of, like, you know, Buddha, Saint Germain, Mother Mary. Ascended masters have a little bit different feeling. Ascended masters work with us, but they are not personal to us. They work with the collective consciousness. You need to ask them to work with you. For me, when I work with ascended masters, these feel like my mentors and teachers. They don't feel personal to me. They feel different than angels. It feels like somebody who has a lot of wisdom who's here to help me is just like, okay, you need to figure some things out. We're going to help you with this. You can work with ascended masters. I work with them very much when I'm thinking about creating a new offering, or taking a job, or cooking, because I am not a cook, but I want to eat a certain way. So I will call on the ascended master, who is the master teacher of creative ideas around healthy recipes. So I'm inspired. So I don't just cook the same boring thing. And so I'm inspired. When I'm thinking about an offering, I call on the ascended master, who is a very creative around innovative spiritual programs that would be interesting to people and serve people. When I was looking for this job, because I have a part-time job that I work as a coach with a company that I love, but right? Not personal, but they're master teachers. Did you have a question? Okay, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kelly. I'm sorry.
It just froze a little bit. Sorry. No, I love all this. Thank you for distinguishing between the different types of spirit guides, ascended masters, angels. Just a note I had with the angels, I feel that as a very, like, for me personally, I feel it like as a giddy, like high vibrational energy, like almost like it makes me feel just completely like joy filled. You know what I mean? Like just that high vibrational energy comes in, and that's how I know the difference. And then when I work with like ancestors or spirit guides, it's a little bit different. It's more of like that voice telling me things, and it's sometimes they get a little sarcastic too. I know for Bree that happens too. And so it's interesting when you start just kind of tuning into the different energies and deciding for yourself like what's what. So I think that's helpful for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And remember, your spirit guides are you. Your spirit team is you. So a lot of times, you know, especially me in my younger years, I would approach my spirit guide from a very, I was born and raised Catholic. So I would approach my spirit guides from a very like religious, praying to my spirit guides, trying to edit my words, be holy, be proper. Your spirit guides are your personality. My personality is very extroverted, sarcastic. I curse a lot like a sailor. You know, I am just, you know, like you guys, like we have so much in common. I have a lot of humor. So my spirit guides, when they're talking to me, they have the same humor, the same sarcasm, the same reactions that I would have. But the beautiful thing about that is that's how you know that you're talking to your team. Because if all of a sudden you're getting a whole different energy, a different interaction, then you're knowing that this is something or someone else that you're talking to. Spirit guides will never, ever, if you are interacting with your spirit guides, you will never feel scared. You will never feel threatened. You will never feel like that spidey sense is telling you that there's something wrong. If you get that feeling like there's something watching me, because I have a lot of people say, it always feels like something's watching me. I'm like, but are you scared or is it scaring you? It's like, it's because it's unknown. But if there's something that really feels scary, creepy, then disengage, because you are not talking to your spirit team. And that is one of the things as you begin your spiritual journey, is how to have discernment and how to have boundaries. Because some of you all might be developing psychic mediums where you're able to see the dearly departed or people who have been in physical form. And on that other side, you know, we are alive. So when the dearly departed, or those who have not left this world, who have died, see us, we are like these bright lights. But the way that they get energized is they have to tap into our energy to fuel their energy. And so if you realize that, you know, you're getting really tired, you're getting sick, you have things happening to you like bad luck, those are all signs that you are not protected, your channel is wide open, and you're probably not engaging with the energy that you would like to engage with. So
Yes.
all of this stuff is really, really great, but you have to use discernment and spiritual protection.
Yeah. So my kids were waking up, so I didn't jump in earlier, but I had a question earlier. So I'm going to just like hop back a little bit, and then I have another question for you about this part. So the first question that I wanted to ask was, so shamanically, like the way that I was trained, our guides even do not have permission, and maybe because we're lumping all the guides together. So not necessarily maybe our personal spirit team. Maybe I have some, you know, misunderstanding there. I'm not sure. But the way that I was taught it is like, you have to give them permission. So they can't do anything because they're not in the physical realm, that they can't do anything without our permission. And one of the things you were saying was like, our spirit team is us, which is just like a mind fuck concept that like, it's just like, oh my gosh, what? I wrap my mind around it a little bit now, but like, it's one of those things that's like, how can they be us, but not be us, and like be something else as well? You know, it can be really confusing. And I think, like, does it make sense to you that when people are saying like, we have to give our permission, or that we need to ask them because they don't know what we want until we do that, is that more just because we need to get the clarity for ourselves, and then ourselves as our spirit guides are able to then act on it? Is that what that is? Is that like what the distinction is, kind of? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it absolutely does. So let me answer it this way, because you bring up a great point. Because when I did my shamanic training years ago, years and years ago, it was too that spirit guides, you need to give permission. But our spirit team, we are not giving them permission to intervene per se. Our spirit guides are only here to give us guidance, period. So they might inspire us and say, okay, Brianna, you can take this job or you can take this one. This is what it might look like. What do you choose? So they're not intervening. This is why the others, we have to ask for permission. So spirit guides, oh my goodness, I'm about to go on a whole different thing. But just if you think about it like this, we always think about like, okay, we're a body that has a soul, but we're not. We're a soul that has a body.
Yeah.
So as a soul that has a body, there is so many other parts and dimensions of ourselves that is being sent informationally into our consciousness, right? I believe that a lot of times when we're working on things and journaling things and having to get clarity is for us, because our subconscious mind understands what we want and it's always sending it out there. The conscious mind is like, well, I don't know, I don't have enough money, it's not the right time, maybe it's not the right person. And like, you can literally go in circle for years and miss your life sitting in self-doubt and indecision. So when we begin to get serious about getting serious about the things that we want and realize that as mortals, we are up against a time clock, because nobody knows when your time's over. We only have a certain amount of heartbeats per lifetime. You don't know how many heartbeats you have. So we are up against this clock. So with that being said, for all of us on this spiritual path and those of us who really want to experience and accomplish things, then using all of these tools help us to gain clarity, and we get that spiritual support, so we're not so scared. So we're not like deer in headlight. We can actually move. Does that answer your question? I know I kind of went around.
It almost is like the more tangible thought, which is even sometimes still hard for people to wrap their head around, is like that, and I talk about it a lot, is your reticular activating system. So it's almost like that part, like when we get that clarity, we're convincing ourselves, we're showing ourselves the positive proof, where our reticular activating system is looking for that negative proof to keep us safe. So it's like what you were just saying kind of reminded me of that, where it's like we're giving ourselves that safety by getting that clarity. And I think a lot of the time, like, intervention can seem like they're physically moving objects, or they're, changing our circumstances without our doing anything. And that's not my understanding of it, but I think like it isn't the understanding that a lot of people have, is that would be what would be happening. And actually, I mean, like you said, it's more of just, they're opening your mind to it. They're sending the inspiration there. You know what I mean? And it's like taking that subconscious or unconscious mind where we do know all of this stuff, because we have, like you said, all that information trickling in from our energy body, from our, whatever you want to call it, right? There's all of that is coming in, but our conscious mind needs to become open to it. So that, I feel like, is such a good distinction of like where they kind of come in, right?
I think that kind of goes back to most people, like you see all these memes about spirit guides and how they're like, you're a puppet on a string and they're like controlling you or whatever. Like they're meant to be jokes, but I think people have this idea because a lot of people feel like things happen outside of them and they can't control it from inside. So of course they're going to feel like it's like that in the spirit world too, right? Like something else is controlling them and it's not actually within them, right?
Right. Where in spirituality, if something's controlling you, you're possessed. That is not a spirit guide, right? So different. And I think too, like the, oh shoot, I just had a thought based on that. And then it just went like, whoo, gone. So it must not be meant to be said right now. I also loved, Julie, how you were talking about like your spirit team you hear in your own voice, kind of, and how like they can be so snarky, and you were approaching it from like that religious aspect and stuff. At first, when I got into it too, I was the exact same way, but then everybody else was like, your guides are so lippy, like they're so bossy, they're bitchy, they're just like, you sit down and shut up and listen to your teacher, or you like, and they're like, and then it eventually, it made a lot more sense that they're me, because I'll just be like, sit down, do your thing, right? Like, and I will be, and the swearing thing, and that, it's like, at first it seemed like it would be so disrespectful and I was going to get smitten down, like, the whole, like, God's going to smite you down idea, right? And it's just like, no, actually, I'm having a conversation with myself. So of course I can be disrespectful as fuck.
Yeah.
Right?
And I mean, absolutely. And just think about it from the spirit. So I do spirit guide conversations. I do readings for people, right? I have read for thousands of people now. I've been reading since 1996. And my specialty is connecting people with their spirit guides and giving them readings, having these conversations. I have talked to thousands of spirit guides since 1996, and they always tell me the number one thing that they want is a connection with us, a conscious connection. They want to be a part of our lives consciously. They want us to give them something to do. While we're sitting in indecision, while we're struggling on our own to figure it out, while we're using our own strength and blood, sweat, and tears, the guides show me like they're like sitting on a couch eating bonbons, watching Netflix, going like, when do you think this person is gonna like bring us in? Sometimes though, we have a choice. What you were saying before, it's like the spirit guides don't do anything to us. We are the only one who can manifest and create our life, because we are the only one who came in with this specific seed, magic, vision, medicine, whatever you want to call it, that's ours, right? It doesn't belong to anyone else. It doesn't belong to anything else. Nothing can intervene in your choices, whether your choices are supportive or not. You are the only manifester of your manifestations. So we can choose to ask these wonderful spirits and ancestors and dearly departed and animals and Reiki master spirit guides and all of these things to help us, for inspiration, to make things fun and enjoyable and delightful. Remember, it is so delightful, like so delightful. Because nowhere when I do a reading does spirit say that you must suffer, that you must have life sucking. And it doesn't mean that we don't go through these moments, but it doesn't have to consume our entire life. And the quicker we can get into this energy of support and feeling like, you know what, I'm not alone, and I am loved, and I am cared for, and I do have a connection. First of all, going back to the RAS, to the amygdala, to our brain, which is like the biggest, fantastic pharmacy ever invented, we switch over to the dopamine, serotonin, endorphin route, get out of the cortisol, stress over here. And then it goes right into the health and maintenance of our physical body, because this vehicle is what's carrying us through our life. And if we do not maintain the vehicle, and this is what the spirit guides say to me and every single person I read, is care of the physical body. Because if we do not maintain the vehicle, it doesn't matter what aspirations you have. Your entire life will be going to doctors, taking care of illness, not feeling good, having low vitality, a very low vibration. And then when you try to lift your vibration so you can hear, see, and feel, engage your clairs, it's really hard to do. You get tired, you get headaches, stomach aches. Can't do it. Does this make sense?
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. What came up for me when you were saying that was, it's like people with alcohol, and not to judge anybody, but like I personally made a decision to not drink alcohol anymore. And since I did that, it has been just like a world of a difference around my health, my just everything, like my brain, like my focus, like everything has been different, right?
Intuition is so much clearer, because
intuition is so much clearer. Yeah, and I feel like that's something that people we don't realize that it's impacting our health that much until we stop it, right? Until we stop doing something and we make a healthier choice.
But you're getting chemically hijacked. So, in that chemical hijackedness is your physical body, but it is your intuition, it's your mind. It changes the structure of your brain, whether it's alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, food, chemical laden food, high fats, mold, environmental toxins. It all impacts. And if we are trying to get to a place to have intentional, conscious communication with spirit and spirit guide, that takes a certain vibrational energy. And if the body is constantly in trying to recuperate itself, there is not enough physical energy and momentum to launch out into these higher states of consciousness, into these higher dimensions. It's difficult. I don't know if you guys have ever seen, hold on, Bree, just let me finish real quick. I don't know if you guys have ever seen people who are channels, like they channel, and they're always sick and they always look sick and they don't have this, their auric glow, there's no vitality. It's because they're struggling to make it happen, but their body's suffering. They will end up sick very quickly if you do not have a balance here. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I lost it.
I'm so sorry, Bree.
No, it's okay. I was thinking of with the alcohol example, and I think that this really applies to anything. This applies to, you know, it doesn't even have to be things that mess with your mind, but things that mess with your body, like you said, any toxins, cigarettes, whatever, right? Any recreational drugs, anything like that. It all, and here was my thought, was that it's not, and this is where like the non-judgment comes in. When I went into shamanism, I naturally evolved out of drinking. It was never a choice that I made. It was just that, like, I started to notice, right? My intuitive channel was not clear after drinking or during drinking, right? And I think what just really like stuck out to me there when you were talking was, it's not that we can't ever drink, that we can't ever do these things. It's not that they are so horrible in and of themselves. It's not that they are like, we can never have a social drink with our friends or, you know, something like that. And not that I don't anymore, but I never, ever have ever said, I will never have a drink again. And that is like, for me, it was never an alcohol problem. So it wasn't like a thing I needed to quit. Right. But I think that's just it, is like, how often are you dragging down your vibration like that? How hard are you making it for yourself to have that channel be open? And here's the thing, is like the why do you want it to be higher? Why do you want that channel open? Like, some people might be a little bit freaked out of having that channel open, of having that communication. But let me tell you, it feels friggin' amazing. It feels really good when you're there and you are so clear and you're so confident in all of these things, versus when you're in that sort of fog and chemically induced, like you said, or like toxic, whatever induced, that's slowing you down, that's slowing down your mental faculties, but also your vibration, right? And it is, I mean, we're all talking about, we want to manifest money, we want to do all of these things, whatever. Well, then you want your vibration higher. So do that stuff less, right? And that, it was really just like, when you were saying it, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. Like, it's not that you can't do it at all. It's just, how often are you choosing that? And
Yeah.
being aware that when you choose it, or if you choose it, it does lower your vibration. And then you have some work to do to raise it back up, right? And whether that's rehydrating the next day, or, you know, going and praying to a priest, like, it depends on what you believe in, right? I don't know, like, whatever it is that you believe in, however it works for you. But there's some work behind that, behind getting vibrationally back into alignment, getting back up to where you were before you went down there. And I think that that's one of the things that there's a lot of like judgment around. Lower vibration means bad, and it's not necessarily, it's just a slower vibration, right? And so that's I think where it becomes like, okay, we don't need to judge that, we don't need to get angry at that or call it bad. It's just, that does not feel as good. That lower, slower vibration feels crappier, and we don't enjoy our lives at the same level.
Absolutely. And it's not bad or good. It's just, what state am I in?
Yeah.
And one of the things that will impact your state more than anything is chronic dehydration. When you are chronically dehydrated, because remember, our bodies are electrical.
Yep.
Our cells need water. We're 70 whatever percent. Our cells are electrical. And when we are casting out to speak to our spirit guides, whatever, we are going through the etheric fields in these electrical patterns, right? So when I do a lot of readings for people, and so like the night before, the day before, I'll always look at my schedule for the next day, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing a coaching session here, doing a Reiki session here, I'm doing readings, and my guides are like, do you think you're going to drink more water?
Yeah.
Like, when is now a good time to start
When
chugging
is now
this
a good
water?
I love how you always say
Yeah.
that.
Like, when is
Um,
now a good time to start drinking this water instead of sitting it having on your desk? Like, can we have a sip, please? You know, and I'm like, okay. But I understand why, because if I'm tired, they don't show up.
yeah.
So if I have somebody who scheduled an appointment with me and they're all excited to talk to their spirit guides, and the spirit guides say, quote, the vehicle is not ready, they don't show up. And you know, for me to have to tell somebody, oh, I'm really sorry, I didn't drink enough water, I can't talk to your spirit guides, it's terrible. So the spirit guides are like, so for me, like, I don't drink, no judgment, I just can't. It makes my stomach hurt. I don't smoke, I don't do any kind of drugs, I don't do anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, when I was younger, I used to have like a Cosmo on a Friday night or a glass of wine with dinner. Since my intuitive channel has grown and developed and really expanded, my physical body cannot tolerate any of it.
Yeah.
I literally drink one sip and my stomach is like gastritis city. And my guys are like, you know, you can try all you want. You can call in an Archangel Raphael and call in your dolphins to ask you for a healing. But how about stopping drinking wine? Because you know that every time you like, you can't try to do a workaround.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if I change this wine, maybe if I drink this, and the other time too, not just that, but if you are consuming very, very high amounts of sugar, that will also really impact your vibration ability to communicate, because sugar hijacks the brain and sugar really weakens our immune system. When we have sugar, when we consume sugar, it can take your immune system anywhere between 24, 48, 72 hours to get back online fully. So if you're consuming sugar on a daily basis, and the American diet is loaded with sugar and hidden sugars, it means we are in a chronic immune system deficit, which means autoimmune, cold, flu, sickness. Our body is always working so hard that all of our energy needs to go to support the immune system, cool down the liver, you know, help the adrenals. So again, when we go into meditation, what does that look like? Can't sit, can't focus, mind chatter, da 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 da. Try to talk to your spirit guides, can't hear anything, can't feel anything, and then like impatience. So it has a direct effect because our channel, our intuition is very quiet. It's very subtle. Our subconscious mind is very quiet. Conscious mind is loud. So when we sit and we get into mindfulness, if you want to be able to sit and give yourself the opportunity to communicate, then make sure you're hydrated. Begin to clean up your food. Cut down on the amount of sugar that you're having. And I know all of you coffee drinkers out there, you know, begin to cut down a little bit, just a little on the sugar in the coffee, or a little bit in the coffee, because coffee down regulates the thyroid. Thyroid is gateway to the immunity. And especially as we age and we want to have healthy aging, then, you know, I don't know about you guys, but I can't eat the way that I did when I was 20. When I was 20, you know, Whopper and 32-ounce soda, followed by Little Debbie's and Jolly Ranchers. You wake up the next day, you feel great.
Yeah.
If I was to try to do that now, they'd have to take me to the ER.
Yeah.
First of all, my body would have a revolution. It would not take any of that.
Yeah. Okay, so you said a couple of things there. You were talking about how I love how you say it, like you're throwing yourself out there to send messages sort of to the spirit realm. And you were talking about how our body is literally like going through that etheric field, and how water, because of this electrical process, helps us to go through that field. So literally, if we're not drinking enough water, we're going to just have a hard time we're going to have a hard time reaching that, accessing that. And then on top of that, I love, like, really choosing not to drink water is the same choice as choosing to drink alcohol. Or, you know, like, I love how you're comparing the two. And this is one of my favorite things having conversations with you, is like the medical side from your RN background combined with your like immense ability to speak with spirit, right? Like you just have like these two really solid, and it's like science and spirituality just merge so beautifully when I'm talking to you. So it's fascinating.
Thank you. And think about it. Your body is the channel.
Yeah.
Your body is the channel. And it's funny that when you said casting out, let me clarify that, because somebody asked me, when you say like you throw out, cast out, so you know, like when a dolphin or whales, they're swimming and they throw their sonar out and they ping something. For me, it's kind of the same thing. It's like I close my eyes and I see, or I have a thought and I imagine like a dolphin and I'm casting it out. I'm throwing it out there to get the feeling. And when then off I go. But that's usually how I start. I will ping something and get a feeling for it and then launch from there. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It makes a lot of sense. So
yeah, I think it, like Bree was saying, connecting the spirituality with the body stuff. This is a fascinating conversation that I think not a lot of people are having, because they either focus on one or the other, right? You see all of these like fitness, health, nutrition people, but they're not talking about the spiritual side. And then you see all these spiritual people and they're not talking about the physical body. So like merging those two and just like all of the insights that we're getting here out of that has been amazing this episode.
Thank you. Yeah. And you know, I've come from a very traditional Western medicine registered nurse training. My clinical background is ICU. I think hospice was helped me to grow spiritually more than anything, because 100% of all of my patients died. So I have been at the bedside of hundreds of people who have died and actively died. And in the ICU, I've been at the bedside of many people who've died, or the ones that we've resuscitated and they came back. So I have a lot of experience. So even though I'm a Western medicine based trained registered nurse, everything I've used since I've hit the planet seems to be more on the Eastern side. The acupunctures, the natural, the herbs, the spirit, the Reikis. I tend to go to all that first and then to the medical. Now, if you're in the street and you break an arm, you don't go to your acupuncturist, you go to the emergency room. You get casted, right? For pain management, you go to the acupuncturist, right? So there's a balance between the worlds. And I hear you, Kelli, because sometimes I talk to people and it's always like, oh, well, you know, you're feeling tired because you're not connecting with spirit. I'm like, maybe your hemoglobin's a little low. Like, go get your blood. Maybe you have low iron. There has to be a balance, because even though we are channels and even though we are spirits and we have a soul, you know, that has a body, we still have a body that needs maintenance. You know what I mean? If you had the most wonderful Ferrari that you paid $1 million for and it started puttering along, you wouldn't say, well, it just, you know, needs to release all of the stuff from its Ferrari family from the past. No, you would take it to the Ferrari people and you would have it looked at, and you would have the carburetor and the gasoline put up. You would tune it up so it can have its peak performance to be a Ferrari, not a putt little, I won't say any other thing, but a little putt something from, you get what I'm saying, a little putt. So it's the same thing with our physical body. Our physical bodies are channels. Our physical body is the channel. We are channeling all the time, whether you know it or not. So how do we keep, to the best of our ability, our channel clear and functioning so we can get here and do our life purpose and feel some satisfaction and fulfillment and some happiness and some community and contribution, and then just have a lot of serendipity and a lot of fun. Because let me tell you something, and I know that you guys know this, when you are really connected and on point and serendipity starts happening and you start getting angel numbers and feathers and pennies, and the person you needed is there and the thing show, dude, that there is nothing better than that. That is so amazing, when the things that you are looking for you, and they find you first, or you find it with no struggle.
Yeah.
There's
it's so
nothing
cool.
better than that. Yeah.
So I was going to ask you what your top tip is for communicating with your spirit guides, but I almost feel like you just gave it to us, is to really prioritize your physical and, you know, all of that stuff. Like, that's, the more that you do that, the more clear your channel is, which makes spirit communication easier. Right. So I love that.
Yeah.
Is there anything that anything else, any last thing that you would like to share with us before we wrap up today that maybe we haven't touched on, or something that maybe our audience might not know already, or?
Yeah, your intuition, spirituality is a gift. Everybody has this gift. Everybody can access this gift. So choose to access it and just be really curious. Approach it from a place of having fun, a place of curiosity. Have discernment. Yes, that is a thing that I'm going to say. You will meet a lot of people and a lot of things that will say, oh, well, come here, do this, come here, do this. Develop your intuition so you have discernment of who are you going to work with? Whose teachings are you going to follow? Who are you going to allow to coach you or mentor you on the spiritual journey, right? Care of the physical body. Yes, that is number one. And hydration. And then a good way to start it, for those of you who have maybe not completely communicated, just start with your intention of, I would like to hear and feel my spirit guides, my personal spirit guides a little bit more. Talk to me so I can hear you. Talk to me, I can feel you. Give me some signs. And give me the discernment to recognize when the sign is right in front of me. Or you can just ask for a sign.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
I want to see this.
Asking for a sign is so powerful. Like in your last Dolphin Reiki, the one that I asked for was a turtle, and I don't see turtles ever. And then it was like, boom, boom. And the turtles just started coming in. Right. And it's like, ask for something that is going to stand out to you. Don't ask for something you see every second of every day, because then you're just like, it's like you're using a fail safe, right? It's like, you're just like scared that you won't get your sign if you don't, but you'd be amazed how it can come in. So ask for it and then open your eyes, like pay attention and watch for it, right? Amazing. It has been so actually really enlightening and so much fun talking to you. Thank you so much for coming today. And
thank you.
Tell us quickly how people can get a hold of you. What's the best way for people to get in contact with you? And of course, we'll drop all of your links and everything in the show notes and whatnot. But what's the number one place that people should head to if they want to connect with you?
The number one place to connect to me is through Facebook. I have my Facebook group there called Your Spiritual Alchemy. Most of the time, to get an invite into the Facebook group, you can just find me, Julie Romero. And on Facebook, I do most of my platform is there because that's where most of the people who are on the spiritual journey have found me. I do offer, conversations with your spirit guides, Dolphin Reiki, coaching for those on their spiritual journey who want a little bit more personal journey, a little bit closer teaching and training and things like that. And so mainly Facebook, Your Spiritual Alchemy, that's where I have all of my offerings. And when I go live to talk about different things, it's always in that group.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming and talking to us today.
I thank you, girls, very, very much.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, it has been my absolute pleasure. And again, thank you for your time and this opportunity.
Awesome. All right. Thank you for everybody who's listening today, and we will talk to you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for being here with us today. If you loved this episode, make sure you subscribe to be notified when new episodes are released. And we'd be so grateful if you would leave us a review. We'll talk to you soon.